Welcome to the 1871 podcast. And on this episode, we're looking back on last night's game against Luton and how things look at the bottom of the Championship. And we'll also look ahead to Reading's next game at Coventry on Saturday. And coming soon on the 1871 podcast, we'll be continuing our Reading FC Top 100 series, where Johnny and I will be choosing our favourite Reading games and seasons. And we'll also be choosing 5 great Reading managers and 5 influential people in Reading's history. So looking forward to chatting to Johnny about that. So we did our countdown of our favourite players, which was really interesting. Enjoyed that. So looking forward to continuing the series. But to start tonight's episode, I can now announce the winner of our competition to win a copy of the Reading Between the Lines book, which is about Reading's first season in the Premier League. And that's signed by Dave Kitson. And our winner is Luke Newton, who, of course, is a Reading fan. And Luke correctly identified Dave Kitson as Reading's top goal scorer in the 106 season. So there was a bit of a clue in the question and the fact that, you know, Dave has signed the book. But anyway, thanks to everyone who entered that, and congratulations to Luke. So the book is on its way to you. So, Johnny, now it's time to look back at last night's game against Luton. And I think it's fair to say a few mixed emotions. So there was some good stuff and there was some bad stuff, basically. And we'll also look at how that result has affected Reading's chances of staying up. So let's start by having a look at this week's results affecting the teams at the bottom end of the Championship. So they were spread across 2 evenings, Tuesday and last night. So on Tuesday, Rotherham still not out of the relegation fight. They drew 2-2 against Burnley. Huddersfield drew 1-1 away to Sunderland. Wigan, who we think are pretty much down, they won 1-0 away to Stoke, and Blackpool lost 2-0 at home to West Brom. And then last night, 3 big games in the relegation fight. QPR drew 1-1 against Norwich. Cardiff won 3-1 away to Watford. And of course, Reading drew 1-1 against Luton. So 2 draws for Noel Hunt in his first 2 games. And it was an eventful night, it's fair to say, for Andy Carroll. So he missed a really good chance early on. Then he gave Reading the lead. And then we thought for a moment he'd given Reading a 2-0 lead, but he was spotted for a handball, given a second yellow card and sent off. So he's going to miss Saturday's game at Coventry. Johnny, over to you. Give me your thoughts. I know you're a little bit angry with Andy Carroll this morning, aren't you?
I was frustrated. He's come out and apologised, and it's one of those things. He went for the ball, his eyes closed, Hunt's backed him, and it's just frustrating. It happens. I see, what was it? The Coventry goal he scored, one with his hand against Blackburn last night, apparently, but that was given. I think, the emotions of about 20 seconds from thinking of a 2-0 up to then seeing what was going on. And you're like, and it's not just that, it's just, he's an influential player. I actually think he might be missing 2 games because it's the second red. I'm not sure. I've heard different things on whether it's 1 or 2,
yeah.
But.
Well, I had a look, and the short answer is I don't know. First wasn't the first one in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just 1.
I hope so.
I've been looking, because it was 2 yellow cards. I haven't seen anywhere that it makes a difference that if 2 red cards, it's a 2-game ban. Also, I think it was in the FA Cup, the first game. So we know
next week anyway.
99% sure he's missing Saturday's game, right?
Yeah. We'll focus on that one.
Yeah. So we don't know, but it wasn't so much hand of God. It was hand of, oh my God, really? What have you done? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was like, in real time, it didn't look it, but the first yellow card, it was a bit of a forwards challenge, really, wasn't it? And I know maybe because it's Andy Carroll, the refs are like get the yellow card out straight away. Some of the challenges again last night, from the opposition could have been yellow cards, weren't. Again, the refereeing standards in the championships are so up and down. I think Yeardon got a yellow card for, again, another challenge that could on another day wouldn't have been yellow. We could go like this all the whole season. It's what it is, but it's happened, and we have to move on. And it's just a shame whether we played well, and the start was there's that Carroll chance we missed, and then Luton came into the game and played well for the rest of the half, and then we got that goal, and you're like, here we go, and then you're thinking, now we've got a good chance, and even when they're sending off, they defended well, they stuck to it, and then a bit of freakish kind of equaliser for them, but they could have gone on and lost the game under Ince. That kind of mindset that Hunt's got with the team. They're definitely fighting. Whatever happened, with the Carroll, it's happened, but the team is fighting. The team are putting the spirit out there. They're giving their all, and that's brilliant. And they've played two top teams and got deservedly a point in each. From playing for each other, the youngsters coming on. Hopefully that can continue to Coventry. I can only look forward and try and be positive, and it's what we need to do. We can dwell on what's been missed, but we just got to try and keep this team up. That's as simple as it.
Well, let's see if we can find some positives from last night's game, and going back to the Burnley game. So we've drawn against Burnley. I think actually it was probably a better performance from Reading against Luton last night. We were 1-0 up. We had some chances. Let's not forget that Luton had some chances. They hit the post. There was some sort of last gasp defending, and it was a type of defense from Reading, and it was a type of defending that you get when players are committed. So there were tackles flying in that prevented Reading from losing that game. So there were one or two players in particular who looked like they were defending for their lives. So I think there's some positives to come out of it. I think there's some frustrations. We were 1-0 up. We thought we'd gone 2-0 up. We could have got a win, and that would have taken us out of the relegation zone, all that sort of stuff. But you also have to look at the positives and the way that it's almost a different team without being a different team. There's a couple of new players who are getting a look in now, who are getting a bit more of a look in under Noel Hunt, and it just seems to be at least, last night you look at that and Reading were, giving it some, and I think in the end a draw was probably about right, because Luton, they looked a pretty decent side, and I thought overall Reading dealt quite well with them, and actually, if you break down all the various chances that Luton had and the amount of time they spent on the attack, and how Reading dealt with that, I think there's a lot of positives to come out of that. And okay, it's actually out of our hands. If the teams above us win all their remaining games, okay, Rotherham and Cardiff aren't, because they're playing each other. But I'll come to that. But I think it's these first two games under Noel Hunt have set us up for now is the time. It's now become a mini league of 3 games for one team, I think, who's going to be relegated out of all those teams that are in the mix, because we think that Blackpool and Wigan are too far adrift. So look, here's how the bottom of the table looks now after last night's draw against Luton. So Rotherham, they're 3 points above the relegation zone with 46 points. They've got 4 games to go. Cardiff had that great win last night. They're now on 45 points with 4 games to go. And the rest of the teams have all got 3 games left. So Huddersfield have got 44 points. QPR 44, and Reading 43 in the relegation zone. So just to break that down, there's 3 points separating Rotherham, Cardiff, Huddersfield, QPR and Reading. There's 2 points separating Cardiff, Huddersfield, QPR and Reading. So 2 points separating 4 teams. And there's 1 point separating Huddersfield, QPR and Reading. So we said we thought that Cardiff were in the mix, and obviously they've overtaken Huddersfield. So I think Rotherham are still not out of it, but of the rest of those teams, it seems like it's possibly between Cardiff, Huddersfield, QPR and Reading for 1 relegation place. But as I say, Rotherham not actually out of it just yet. They're only 3 points clear. But they have got that game in hand as well. So a really key thing, and it might come down to this on the last day of the season, QPR's goal difference is -27. Reading's goal difference is -19. So, Johnny, all we need to do to stay up is gain 1 point on QPR over the next 3 games, and we'll finish above them. It might come down to that. So
Sounds so easy.
so if we get, let's say, for example, we get 4 points in the next 3 games, which is entirely doable. They get 3 points. We'll be above them on goal difference. QPR will go down, Reading will stay up. How do you fancy that? Is that a good scenario?
I think any Reading fan will do that. You know, it's like you said, last night, that spirit's there. And I think I heard was Andy Yeardon played after his partner had a baby the night before. He had no sleep, and you're like, that's the commitment that you asked for from the team. Yeah, the result, we didn't get the win, but the spirit's there. For these last 3 games, and you believe in what Hunt's doing. He's galvanised the team. He trusts lads like Guinness Walker, where it didn't really give. He was in and out of the team, and he's letting them play. And you can see the spirits there and the fights there. Coventry, next up are a decent team, but we've performed well against 2 top teams already. So, the next 2 do for us is to break that away record, isn't it? And QPR have got Burnley away, I think, Saturday, which, you'd hope as much as you can in the Championship that's Burnley should win that. But again, it's you can't predict any of it. It's crazy. But, if we can get a point on Saturday at Coventry, would be brilliant. I think it's going to go down to the last game against Huddersfield, against Warnock. It's just written in the stars, isn't it? Whatever happens in the next 2 games, you just go, oh yeah, here we go. But if it does, and we're still in with the chance of staying up on the last day, if that's the case, then I'll take it. We've just got to be in it to win it, isn't it? So the old saying goes.
Yeah, and I think another positive last night, you did see some good signs from some of the young players. So there was, I was watching the game and looking at some of those young players and thinking, they're playing against one of the top teams, the 3rd team in the Championship, and they're giving a decent account of themselves. And there were a few kind of flashes of, if there was a little bit more on the end of some of those runs and that sort of thing, there was just a little bit missing sometimes at the end. But there was, like I say, I think one thing that really stood out for me, apart from Reading taking the lead, was the fact, and you could say it was against the run of play, but it was those last ditch tackles that stopped, prevented Luton winning the game. So there was some positives last night. I came out of that. Yes, of course, it was a bit frustrating what happened with Andy Carroll, but I came out of that sort of feeling quite optimistic, because it's about the last 3 games now, and yeah, as you say, QPR away to Burnley on Saturday, and then a week on Saturday, QPR away to Stoke. And then they finish at home to Bristol City on May the 8th. So that's QPR's last 3 games. The other thing we haven't mentioned so far is Reading's 106 points record is safe for another year. So Burnley's 0-0 draw at Reading meant they could only equal the record, but then they drew 2-2 against Rotherham on Tuesday, and that means they can't catch the 106 record. So there is that. But there is a team that already has 107 points this season, and they're not finished yet. And that is former Royals midfielder Phil Parkinson's Wrexham, who need just one win from their last 2 games to be certain of promotion to League Two. And talking of records, you might, on a previous record, heard me say something about Man United beating Reading's record, and it was when we were talking about the 106 record, and I was getting my records mixed up a little bit. Man United beat Reading's record of not conceding a goal for more than 1,000 minutes. So I was getting my 2 records mixed up. Of course, no one in the Premier League has got to 106 points, but Wrexham have now got to 107. So let's hope that Phil Parkinson and Wrexham can get the one win they need from their last 2 games. So good luck to Phil and the Wrexham team. And just a quick word on Dylan Kerr and Marumo Gallants. They're now 7 games unbeaten since Dylan joined, and they're now 2 points above the relegation zone in the South African Premier Division. And they drew 0-0 with the now second place team, SuperSport United, on Tuesday. So they're going really well. And Dylan is basically doing the Neil Warnock by the looks of it out there again. And he's done that with 4 teams. So it looks like he might do it with a 5th team. They've still got, I think, 3 games to go or something like that. So look, let's Johnny, let's look ahead to the games coming up involving Reading, QPR, Huddersfield, Cardiff, and Rotherham. So on Saturday, Reading, as we know, away to Coventry. As we've mentioned, QPR away to Burnley. So we're looking for Burnley to do us a favour there. Cardiff home to Stoke. Rotherham away to Bristol City. And I kept looking, but Huddersfield, I don't think they've got a game unless I missed that one. But I don't think Huddersfield are playing on Saturday, are they?
I think it's Sheffield United in the Cup semi-final. Is there something like that?
Something like that. But anyway, doesn't look like Huddersfield are playing. So that's that's a kind of incentive for Reading as well. They can go above Huddersfield.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday, it's the game in hand for Rotherham and Cardiff. They're playing each other. But as I say, I mean, probably the 2 biggest games on Saturday is Reading away to Coventry, of course. And we'll also be keeping an eye on QPR away to Burnley. So if Reading get a point and Burnley beat QPR, Reading will be above QPR because of the goal difference. And then
going up as well.
Say again.
There's a good crowd going up as well. I think there's over 1,000 tickets sold for the Coventry game, which is great. The fans will be there back in the team again. And that makes such a difference, Mark, doesn't it? You see when the fans are getting behind the team and it's giving them that energy, that fight and that spirit to keep going. And that's what we need, everyone in it together, isn't it?
Yeah. And Reading's final 2 games, as I think everyone will already know, home to Wigan a week on Saturday and away to Huddersfield and Neil Warnock, of course, on Monday, May the 8th. And a word on Coventry, Johnny. That's going to be a tricky game. They're just 1 point off a playoff place after their keeper scored a stoppage time equaliser against Blackburn last night. So they're still fighting for the playoffs. And obviously they're there, they're up there because they're having a really good season, just outside the playoffs. So that's not going to be an easy game, is it?
No, but I think like we've talked about, we're forgetting what's gone on up to these last 2 games now because it is a different team, is in approach and attitude and belief, everything. The fight. I think I was talking about the youngsters there, and I think Noel Hunt said after the game last night that the young players, they're good players. He said you just need to have a bit more belief in the final third to show what they can do, and it's there. You can see the talent. As he's set up, the corner for the Carroll's goal. And he's been allowed to have a run in the team now, and you can see that confidence in him. And then you've got a briefers come on, El Hibib Tarman. He'll probably.
I was going to help you out. I've been practicing, John. I was going to help you out there.
But he'll probably have to start now, probably on Saturday with Carroll out. I think Mate's probably not back till maybe next week. So look, it's what it is. We've got the team that's there. The youngsters, they look part on the pitch. You don't look at anyone coming on and going, "Oh, geez, they're out of their depth here." They all fit in and play well. So go up there and Hunt will have a plan. The team will have a plan. It's a lot of games for a small squad to keep performing at that level, isn't it? 3 tough games in a week with pretty much the same 11, starting to give it the odd change. But Hunt will get them going and fire them up for, it's like, lads, you just got 3 games to keep doing what you're doing, then you're off. So, they'll put everything on the line. The guys like Naby Sarr's really showing his leadership now, and Tom Holmes has got his confidence back. So it's, we trust in them. Hunt will give it everything he's got, in his capabilities as the manager, and then the players and the backroom staff to do what they can. And I believe in them, and I'm sure you do, and everyone else that he can get us there.
Do you know what my gut feeling is? We're going to stay up, because if you think about it, we literally, if we gain 1 point on QPR, we stay up. So the last 3 games, QPR got 3 games left. They're playing Burnley. Reading have got 3 games left. We only have to gain 1 point on them. So if we lose 2 and draw 1, and QPR lose all their remaining 3 games, which is not beyond the realms of possibility, given that they're losing most of their recent games anyway. And just obviously to say, Johnny, and I had practiced the name Ehia Batiaman, still can't get it quite right. We'll have to get him on, actually, and he can pronounce it. But I would like to say, of course, to see the youngsters in the team has been a breath of fresh air, hasn't it?
Oh, very good. You've been practicing that one, haven't you?
I've been waiting for a while to say that one. But
no, it is like, they're promising talent, and again, whatever happens in the summer, you've got some good young players there that, will be part of the squad for next season, wherever that is, but hopefully in the Championship.
Yeah, and I think it's really important, and it is a bit of an old cliche, but yes, there's 3 games to go. And yes, we're looking at what QPR are doing, but it's just 1 game at a time at the moment. So the focus is purely on not really thinking about 3 games collectively, not thinking about what QPR are doing. It's actually, let's go there to Coventry on Saturday, give it everything that we've got, come off that pitch, knowing that you gave it, 100%. And I think we've seen some good signs. So do we think that we'll be happy with another draw? So it'll be 3 draws in a row for Noel Hunt. Will we be happy with that, do you think, at Coventry?
I would. It wouldn't obviously be brilliant, but I take a point as the way that the team's doing. It's another point gained. Whatever happens in the other games, we can't, we're not know. We just have to do it a game at a time, like you say. And if we get a positive result and a positive performance again, that builds that, unbeaten record, and we get the momentum for the next game. Wherever that leads us, hopefully, they'll still be in touch with whatever's around, the teams that are around them. And, as long as we've got hope and we've got a chance of staying up, we'll believe. And, that's what I'm sure Hunt will install in the players, that, it's 1 90-minute game. It's not about what Coventry have done previously or we've done. It's what happens on that pitch. And they've shown, in those last 2 games that they can match up with the two of the best teams, and Coventry's up there. So why not do it there as well? There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, and we were up against Luton, and then to be fair, we did quite well with 10 men. So there's some encouraging signs, and look back to Saturday against Burnley, and the other teams, around Reading, slipped up. So that was a good day for Reading, and then we're still in touch. We're literally, this is how close it is. If we gain 1 point on QPR over the next 3 games, we stay up. It's kind of that close. It's that sort of simple. And let's wish Noel Hunt and the team all the best for Coventry away. I think we would be happy, and we are going to be looking at the other scores. Of course, we're hoping Burnley can do us a favour. If we draw at Coventry, if Burnley do us a favour, we're out of the relegation zone, and then it's back in our hands. And that's a realistic possibility. We don't know, of course, but that's a possibility. The other teams might slip up as well. So, good luck to Noel and the team. I'm not going to say, come on, you Rs, because when I was saying that before, it didn't work. So I've stopped saying that now. But wish them all the best. So thanks for joining me, Johnny. And we'll look forward. We're actually looking forward to Saturday's game, aren't we? I think.
But I'll be at work hiding behind the couch.
Yeah. But it's not. I think the mood has changed.
Yeah.
Just finally, the mood has changed. We were really worried about what's going to happen in the next game under Paul Ince. Now we're looking forward to it. I think that's a key difference for me. Yeah,
definitely. There's you can see it, the belief, and the players putting everything on on the line. Like you say, the tackles, the blocks. And you go, they've come off the pitch giving everything, and that's all you can ask, and that's all you want, from any team. And there's been times you've questioned that previously under Ince, for sure, but now under Hunt, I don't think he let them come off the pitch without giving that effort, because he's that kind of leader, and he wants that from the team, and that's that's brilliant, and that's going to give us half a chance of staying up. That alone.
And what about this? We go to Huddersfield on the last game of the season. Andy Carroll's back from suspension. He's quite fresh because he didn't play in the game against Coventry. Comes back for the last two games, or the last game, or whatever it is. We're not 100% sure. We think it's only one game he's missing, but he comes back and he gets a late equaliser at Huddersfield to keep Reading up and send Huddersfield down. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would, but I'll take anything to keep us up. Yeah. I don't care who goes down at the minute, to be honest, and who scores. If Joe Lumley come up and scores it with a header, I'll take that. I'll take whatever, as long as we're up and we can celebrate being up at the end of the season. How we get there is, who knows? But let's just hope that we believe in the team and wish them the best of luck for Saturday and the remaining games. And let the roller coaster ride continue.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Johnny. Thanks for joining me. And good luck to Reading on Saturday.